Good afternoon, guys. My name is Kalyan Shivasayan. I want to start with a question. And when you see this question on the screen, you may think it is absurd, trivial, or just plain silly. But an answer that I got to this question is what I have dedicated the last 3 years of my life towards. So, can you tell me the difference between and what is the difference between a patient and a lab rat? What is the difference between a patient and a lab rat? My story and my journey in healthcare did not start on the sandy beaches of Suratkal, nor in the libraries of the National Law School in Bangalore. It actually started on a car journey to Banerghatta, which was abruptly stopped by a call from my friend and now co-founder, Syed. It was his wife on the line, frantically telling me that Syed had been taken extremely unwell and was unconscious. We immediately rushed him to a leading hospital in the center of Bangalore. And after he'd been stabilized, the neurologist came to us and said that we needed to take an MRI for further evaluation. And this was my first experience in the world of radiology. I'd never heard of an MRI or even seen one before. We went with Syed and got his MRI done, and we waited for the results. The one thing that I realized about radiology is that it works a little differently from the rest of the world. I'd always been told that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm sure a lot of you guys had seen that. From my experience in radiology, I can tell you that even 1,000 pictures is worth around 76 words. So welcome to this world of radiology, where what basically happens is that a specialist called a radiologist looks at many complex images of the insides of your body, and then in between 60 to 100 words, tries to concisely tell you and your physician what is wrong with you. So after Syed's MRI, we waited, and we waited, and we waited. We waited 48 hours for this report to come in, which meant 48 hours where no doctor would even touch the patient, and 48 hours of a lot of anxiety for friends and family. And as I got thinking about radiology and started exploring it a bit more, I realized a couple of things. The first thing is that, unfortunately, my close friend Syed was not alone in this predicament. This year, 600 million people will undergo some form of radiology scans, and 4 billion scans will be generated. I tried not to overhear, but I overheard a young woman talking about how she had taken an MRI recently. You're 1 in 4 billion now. 4 billion scans will be generated this year. And unfortunately, 35% of all these scans would have delayed diagnosis, and 1 in 5 would be wrong. Just imagine if somebody said every 5th person going in this bridge will fall down. That is unacceptable, right? But 1 in 5 scans will be misdiagnosed. And as I got to asking myself why, it turns out that there are something like 100,000 radiologists across the world for 4 billion scans every year. And on top of that, radiologists, like other doctors, also subspecialize. And another thing that I learned about radiology is that whether you have a headache, or a toe fracture, or you need open heart surgery, or you have a kidney stone, you are going to go to radiology for a diagnosis, right? And what happens is that radiologists essentially specialize in different subspecialties, but a machine does not have these kind of problems. A good CT scan machine can do 37 different types of scans. A radiologist can probably read 5 to 10 of them at a time. So if I had to boil down and condense this problem into 2 words, it is possible. And that is access and efficiency. Access not only to a radiologist, but access to the right radiologist who's capable of looking at that case, and making these radiologists much more efficient. Now when I looked at access and efficiency and I was writing down all my thoughts on a Word doc, and when I saw the words access and efficiency, I said, hey, this is a computer science problem. This is something that I can solve. And the entrepreneur in me got really excited because I saw this number that said that by 2025 there would be 7 billion scans that the world would do every year. And I also realized that the mission statement that I was going towards, fighting against inaccurate and delayed diagnosis, is a great rallying cry. I thought that I could wake up to it every day feeling excited. I also believed that it would be a great motivator for people who would want to join me in this journey. So I said, in radiology, how can we use technology to bridge problems and gaps in access and efficiency? When Syed and I were discussing this after he was discharged from the hospital, the one thing that we realized is that there were a lot of tailwinds supporting us. Now I'm sure a lot of you have flown a kite, and however good you are at flying a kite, or however well the kite is made, you cannot fly it if there's no wings. I think entrepreneurship is very similar to that. And we realized that there were a bunch of tailwinds supporting us, and we were essentially at an inflection point. Because three big things were happening. The first was that it turns out that radiology somehow broke away from the problems of interoperability that the rest of healthcare suffers from. Every single radiology scan done in this world is of the same format for transmission and storage. And this meant that an entrepreneur like myself with no prior experience could build on a universally accepted stack and work with any manufacturer in radiology. The second thing is just fast internet, right? Not only in metros but across the country. A normal radiology scan, digital scan, is anywhere from 25 MB to 6 GB, and that is pretty big. On average today, it takes 50 seconds to upload a scan onto my platform. So the internet problem also got solved. And finally, compute and GPUs started becoming a lot cheaper and a lot more accessible. And this is what I call sugar, spice, and everything nice, right? We kind of realized that there were so many things working for us. And Chemical X, if you guys remember Powerpuff Girls, was essentially that Syed and I said, hey, if we were able to solve this, we will get at least one client, that hospital where he was, right? So we said, all these factors are working for us. Now, why can we not build a new type of business in radiology? And that's essentially what we did. So if any of you have gone to a radiology department in a hospital, you will see that it's mostly in a basement, and you'll see that these radiologists are in one room in a corner looking at these cases. And we said, why not take them from the basement all the way to the cloud, right? Will you see Zameen or Asman ka farak? And that is what 5C wanted to do. So I'll take you through a quick example of what 5C does, right? We are a cloud-based platform for radiology, and we have clients who are hospitals and diagnostic centers all across the country. Here's an example. This is a scan center called Koppa Scan Center. It is around 50 kilometers away from Shimoga in northern Karnataka. As the name suggests, it obviously has a CT scan. And incidentally, the power here in Koppa is so bad that they run the CT scan on a generator. So Koppa CT scan is my client. And every time that they generate a radiology scan, every time a patient walks in and gets a scan done, at the click of a button, this scan is made available onto my platform. What we do then is we go back to them and we collect detailed patient history and we study disease patterns. And I'll come to some really interesting cases in a bit about how we are using this data. Now, the moment we get all this information, we find on the other side the right radiologist for every type of case. So if this was a brain case, this would go to a particular radiologist who's online at that time, who can give a report in, let's say, 40 minutes, right? And just like that, today we have something like 280 radiologists on our platform looking at cases every day. And essentially, what we did was that, and why this model is so seductive on both sides, is that for clients, they pay only when they need a scan read. And radiologists who were hitherto sitting in a basement and maybe working in one or two centers now have access to the whole country. And we were able to build technology using the data that we collected to fundamentally make this experience for radiologists better. We were able to help them be faster, more accurate, and more consistent by using AI and ML on this data. I'll give you a quick understanding of what we have done. So with all the data that we have collected, and we have done more than 900,000 cases over the past 3 years in radiology, we were able to go back and start predicting, using image recognition, what radiologists would start seeing. And we saw that this has made a radiologist 35% faster and 80% less likely to commit a diagnostic error when they are having an AI-based report. Massive sea changes. And I'm sure you guys have read a lot of articles on AI in medicine. Is it there? Is it not? Let me tell you that it is very real, right? The future is not man versus machine. The future is man plus machine, and it is here, and it is live on 5C. I can tell you that AI genuinely works. Just to give you a quick example, we have done more than 900,000 cases across 27 states all over India. If a radiology scan comes to us, we deliver it on an average in 44 minutes. And like I mentioned, there is an 80% reduction in diagnostic error thanks to the technology that we've built. I want to take a cue from the theme of this talk, zoom in, and actually zoom into 3 specific places where technology in radiology has helped deliver better patient outcomes. Here's example 1. This is the CCTV photo of a client of mine in Darbhanga in Bihar. You can see all these men here are actually waiting for a scan. So the owner of the scan heard of scan center, heard of 5C, and actually bought an X-ray to take care of master health checkups and basic ailments. Now, what we learned from the center is that emergencies are not just based on clinical factors, but also based on bus timings. The last bus from the center is at 6 p.m. So if people miss that bus, they don't get to go home. Using AI on chest X-rays, we are turning around reports on an average in 16 minutes for these patients. So we not only make sure that they get high quality, reliable diagnostics, we also make sure that nobody misses the bus. A really interesting case from Assam, Dibrugarh. The owner of the diagnostic center is one of the few radiologists in that area. And this is the second scan, the scan on the left, the second scan that he had taken. He had taken one 4 days prior for this patient, who had complained of a huge amount of lower abdominal pain. The scan looked normal, and the owner of the center sent the patient back. When the patient came back again complaining of uncontrollable pain, he sent the case to 5C. One of our doctors, Dr. Kudwa, who is also an abdominal specialist, immediately was told by our platform to do a 3D reconstruction. And the view that you see here is a 3D reconstructed view of a coronal side of a radiology scan. And there it is, a massive appendicitis, right? On the right is the photo of the appendix when it was actually pulled out. The clinician called us a week later and said that if we actually reported it in 20 minutes, and Dr. Kudwa was gracious and amazing enough to call the clinician, explain the situation, and suggest immediate surgery. The clinician called us and said that if it was 90 minutes instead of 45, where the patient was on the operating table, he may not have celebrated his 55th birthday the next day. Example 3, one of my favorites. I don't know how many of you watch House MD. It's one of my favorite shows. Yeah, great show, right? This example is very similar to that. This is a case of a female patient in eastern UP who had fallen off her bike. Her doctor wanted her to get a CT scan of her brain just to rule out any fractures on her skull. When we got the case, our doctor, Dr. Kushagra Garg, who's also incidentally an expert in neuro, looked at this case and immediately thought that something was fishy. His understanding was corroborated by our platform that started asking him to check for something called NCC. NCC is basically tapeworms in the brain. But this girl had fallen down, right? She just had a bike accident, right? What's the connection? Dr. Garg understood the connection immediately and asked to speak to the patient. The patient then revealed something really interesting. The patient told Dr. Garg that she does not remember having the accident. She said that she was on her bike, she had a seizure, and then she just remembers having fallen down, but she does not remember actually the act of falling. So here's the question, right? The fall, is it the cause or is it the consequence of something a lot deeper? Dr. Garg immediately asked for a contrast CT, and there you can see these small dots. They're actually tapeworms in the brain. Caused, no, it's not a very big deal. Caused by eating pork, right? In eastern UP, people who eat pork have a high chance of getting NCC, right? And here's the difference between a trauma case and an NCC case. If you have trauma, the protocol for trauma is just wait and watch. You need to take another scan the next day, another scan the next day. If you have NCC, the solution is one tablet that is in the form of a chocolate today. It's called an anti-helmin. It's available over the counter. The next day, you will literally be cured. But if you do not take that, you are looking at a huge amount of neurodegeneration in the near future. So here's the difference between diagnosis which is correct and diagnosis which is wrong. And I'm so happy and I'm proud that 5C has been able to play a part in this movement of better diagnostics. A CT scan can generate 1,065 different shades of green, right? That is how radiologists actually differentiate between various things that they see in an X-ray or a CT or an MRI. But as you zoom into these 1,065 shades of green, you realize that diagnosis is just black and white, right? You either have it right or you don't. And the price to pay when you don't have it right is huge. So what is the difference between a patient and a lab rat? The answer is nothing. There is no difference between a patient and a lab rat if you do not know what is wrong with the patient. The difference between a patient and a lab rat is diagnosis. And that is what I have dedicated the last 3 years of my life towards. Thank you.